Hola, clase. ¿Cómo están? Excelente. And welcome back to Learning with Senor Cow Cow. All right, so today I'm not going to start off with a warm up. I just want to go straight to the vocabulary. So let's have a look. Today we're going to be looking at the ones that go from number 71 to 96 on your big vocabulary list. You have it on a big sheet that looks like this. Looks like this. That's your big sheet. As well as I have added them to the Quizlet page. That is called Big Verbs List. Okay, you'll see now it goes to 96. Okay, so my first advice is this. Let's check recording. Good. Hold on. Okay, yes, good. Okay, we're doing that. Okay, good. All right, so anyway, my first advice is that you go through your physical list. Everybody should have this printed by now. And as you go down from 71 to 96, I want you to check off ones that are easy for you. Either you already know it, or it looks like what it is, or something like that. Okay? So go ahead, take a moment, familiarize yourself with the words, and start with 71 and look for ones like necesitar, which we've done many times, or for example, pedir, we learned with stem changers, pensar, we learned with stem changers. Um, pescar may not be that hard because it looks like pescado, which is fish, and so on. Okay, I think you'll find a lot of these that you recognize. Here's saber. We just finished up with saber. So take a moment, pause the video here, and put a little check by ones that you're completely good with. You know it. You don't really have to study that one. All right, so let's go over these. So let's start with the Quizlet here. Again, you can find this on my Senor Cow Cow page. All right, to sail or navigate is navegar. To need, necesitar. To need to do something, necesitar, and then an infinitive. Like if you want to say, oh, I need to eat, necesito comer. To hear, oír. Now this is worth taking the time to show you. Let me show you what oír looks like when you conjugate it. Anytime you find a verb like this that has an accent mark in the original infinitive, you know probably something unusual is going to go on here. So watch this. It goes oigo. Over here we have oímos, oyes, oís, oye, oye. So it goes oigo, oyes, oye, oímos, oís, oyen. So again, this is not to listen. This is to actually hear something. Like if you want to say, I hear a dog. Oigo un perro. Or we hear music. Oímos música. It's a pretty font. I like that. It's called ink free. So there you go. Oigo un perro. Oímos música. You're just talking about things that you hear. Okay? This is even a way to get someone's attention. You say, oye. It's like saying, hey. You're literally telling that person, hear me. Um, it's not the most polite thing to say if you're talking to an adult, but like, let's say some guy your age dropped a wallet, say, oye, señor, amigo. And they'll look at you because you've just shouted that. I mean, if you're in a pinch and you really have to get someone's attention, you could shout a few different things. I mean, you could say, "Hola, hola," something. Typically, anytime you're shouting something, people are going to look. So use it sparingly. Okay, so oír, to hear, to pass, and this verb is also used for to spend time. Pasar, pasar. We pass the school every day. Pasamos la escuela todos los días. And in English, you spend time, but in Spanish, you pass time. I like to pass time with my friends. Pasar un rato con los amigos. To vacuum. Pasar la aspiradora. So in English, you vacuum. In Spanish, you pass the vacuum over the floor. To go for a walk or have a stroll, pasear. This is a very deliberate, I'm going out for a walk. It's not just he walked by. To skate, patinar. To order or ask for, we've seen before, is pedir, stem changer. Yo pido agua y ella pide leche. To think or plan, pensar. I think that your friend is funny. Yo pienso que tu amigo es cómico. He thinks a lot. Él piensa mucho. To plan to do something, you combine pensar with an infinitive. I plan to study today. Pienso estudiar hoy. Pienso estudiar. To lose, perder, another stem changer. He always loses. Él siempre pierde. Él pierde en fútbol, él pierde en PlayStation, no importa, él siempre pierde. To fish, pescar. What do you catch and cook? Pescado. To iron, planchar. To be able or can do something, poder. We've seen this many times. Puedo hablar español. Puedes cantar. Puede pescar. To put, place or set, poner. And we all know this is yo pongo. To practice, practicar. This one you've known since Spanish 1. Maybe learn to practice sports, practicar deportes. To prefer, preferir. We learned this with stem changers. Yo prefiero dormir y ella prefiere comer. Now here's a good question. To ask, preguntar. Yo le pregunto dónde está la escuela. I ask him. Yo le pregunto. A question, questions are preguntas. So if you want to tell somebody, you ask a lot of questions. Preguntas, muchas preguntas. To prepare, preparar. There's a cognate. You can look at it and tell. To want, also to love, querer. Yo quiero comer. Él quiere dos tacos. Queremos estudiar. A way to say I love you in Spanish is te quiero. I love you. Te quiero. And it could be a romantic love. Very commonly, it's a love between friends. It's something that girls say to each other all the time. Adios, te quiero. To take away or remove. Quitar. So it's like you quit using it. You take it away. To receive. Recibir. To pick up or to gather. Recoger. And when you make this for yo, it is recojo with a J-O, so it makes the right sound. Yo recojo los libros de la casa. All right, it's to get, it's to gather up, to pick something up. Recoger. To know, for facts or information. Saber. Yo sé. And finally, to know how to do something. Saber plus an infinitive. Yo sé cocinar. Ella sabe nadar. Sabemos leer. Okay? So that covers the actual verbs. Now, it's always a good idea to come up with some mnemonics, like recoger. I go there to recoger something. You go to pick it up, to gather it. Receive, recibir, that's the easy one. To take away. Quitar, you remove it, you quit using it. To ask, preguntar. Figure out a good one for that one, okay? So mnemonics are really important. Okay. Now, we're not going to do much more today. What I want you to do is take a moment And this is not to turn in because I'm currently waist deep in things that have been turned in, and I want to make sure that you guys get the most grades that you can. So don't worry about turning it in, but all I want you to do is using these verbs, the ones we just went over, I want you to pause the video for just a minute and write 4 sentences. And see if you can make them good sentences. Okay, don't just make it I sail. There's a sentence. No, say I sail in the ocean. Look up ocean or something like that. Okay, 4 sentences. That's asking very little. My Spanish teacher, Senora Alston, when I was over at Lakeside, she was a wonderful teacher, but she had us working. She would say, give me 2 paragraphs, begin. Okay, I'm asking you for 4 sentences. Pick 4 verbs, make a sentence. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Pause the video now. All right, just to give a few examples of what you could do, you could say, Mi mamá pasa la aspiradora en la casa. Mi amigo y yo paseamos en el parque. Um, Mis amigos no planchan su camisa. Yo puedo hablar español. ¿Qué pones en tu mochila? ¿Practicas fútbol? Ella prefiere comer. Okay, so it's not that hard to. Ella prefiere comer fruta en la escuela. There you go. You make a longer sentence. Okay, now I want to. We didn't have a warm up today, but I'm going to kind of give you one now. I want to see how well you can do this. Okay, let me see what kind of time we're at. I don't want to hold y'all all day. Okay. Yes, we're just at the right spot. Okay, so I want you to pause the video and see how well you would be able to say these things out in the real world. Okay? All right, so pause the video now. All right, so for this, you have to think about what you're actually saying. So watch this. Infinitive phrases. In every single one of these, remember what an infinitive is. An infinitive is something like this. It's like that. Comer, hablar, comer, to eat, hablar, to talk. You have to remember this is extremely important for your Spanish knowledge base here. Comer means to eat. That's exactly and only what it means. So if you say yo comer, word for word, don't ever forget this. That says I to eat. Okay? So I'm demonstrating comer means to eat, and that's the only thing it means. All right? So each one of these is going to have an infinitive. So watch this. I want to study. Yo, right, yo. Quiero estudiar. Quiero says I want. Estudiar says to study. And that's the whole point. You leave it alone. We do this all the time in English, and this is one way that Spanish helps us learn about how English works. Pedro needs to eat. Pedro necesita comer. They prefer to sleep. Ellos prefieren dormir. She's going to run. Ella va a correr. Va a correr. We can speak Italian. Podemos hablar italiano. Notice it's not capitalized in Spanish. They don't do that. I have to sing. Tengo que cantar. Now, if you didn't remember all of that right off the bat, that's completely fine. I was just checking to see what you did remember. So hopefully we got some good answers in there. Unfortunately, I'm not with you to check, but hopefully we hit the mark fairly well. Okay. Now, the last thing we're going to do today is I'm going to go over your notes. Okay, so what we're doing today, these are called infinitive phrases. Okay, so here are your notes. I've put this on Google Classroom. It will appear at 8 o'clock a.m. So anyway, so here it is. So this is very important as well. So hopefully you're watching the video because today we're going to look at the first sheet with the notes and leave the second sheet alone. Look at the first sheet, ignore the second sheet. All right, so let's have a look here. This is what's on your Google Classroom. So number one, to prefer. Preferir. Prefiero dormir. I prefer to sleep. To want or wish. Querer. Quieren comer. They want to eat. Do you see in each one how you conjugate the first verb? Leave the second one alone every single time. To be able. Poder. Juan puede nadar. Juan can swim, or literally, Juan is able to swim. To desire or want is desear. Deseo estudiar. I want to study. To need, necesitar. Ellos necesitan descansar. They need to rest. To plan, pensar. Carla piensa pescar. You see, there's a lot of overlap here with your vocabulary, which is good news. Carla piensa pescar. Carla plans to fish. To hope, esperar. Esperamos llegar mañana. We hope to arrive tomorrow. Going to, ir plus a plus infinitive. Now, we'll get into ir later. I do want you to know this, but I'm going to tell you for now, we're going to limit this just to the yo form. Voy a correr. I'm going to run. Vamos a estudiar. No, I'm sorry. I just said it. Yo. Voy a correr. Voy a estudiar. Voy a dormir. Voy a hablar. To have to. Tener plus que plus infinitive. Tengo que correr. I have to run. Okay, we'll limit this for now as well, just to yo. All right, we'll make sure that we cover tener in detail later. Okay, so voy a, I'm going to. Tengo que, I have to. To feel like is tener ganas de. Carlos tiene ganas de mirar televisión. Carlos feels like watching TV. To have just done something. This is kind of an interesting, kind of a fun verb. Acabar de. Acabo de comer. I just ate. It's necessary to. This is you remove the person here. This is just the most general piece of advice you can give. Okay. Let's do this for Spanish 2. Let's ignore these bottom three for now. Okay. We'll definitely cover this next year anyway in Spanish 2. So let's leave these bottom ones alone for now. And because I don't want y'all to get confused with that. All right. So leave out those bottom three and we'll focus on the rest of these. Okay. So there you go. So those are some examples, and we will pick this back up tomorrow. Okay. All right. So let me go back to me real quick to say goodbye to everybody. All right. Well, have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you guys again. Adios.